people tell you, hey, it's okay, you don't have to cuss. Like, the fuck? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Especially if you piss me off. I'm gonna come after you like a spider monkey, cussing your ass out.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Ant Money Experience, the podcast unlike no other. What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a long ass week. I hope everybody is enjoying it. It's one of them I can't wait for the weekend type of joints. But it is the unofficial start of the weekend. If you are here right now at the most dangerous network in the world, the big exclusive network. If you have a podcast idea, if your podcast needs a home, come on over to the winning team. We got some shit coming for y'all. Y'all think I'm bullshitting? And then boom, as soon as y'all stop paying attention or think we slacking, we got something for that ass. But if you would like to be a co-host on the Ant Money Experience, make sure you inbox or DM me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the network as well. And if you would like to be in the spotlight portion of my show, make sure you DM me. But before we go any further, a message from our sponsors. Now, it's been kind of a light week as far as topics. Before I go anywhere, I want to send a rest in peace shout out to Val Kilmer. Definitely one of my, I'm not going to say one of my favorite actors, but he has had some roles that I had definitely been a fan in. Batman is my favorite superhero, regardless of what people think about him. And he has had a role as Batman and Batman Forever. Also, rest in peace to Atlanta artist Young Scooter. I'm not going to sit here and say I was the biggest fan, but he definitely had some bangers if you were tapped in. Rest in peace, an unfortunate situation, but I'm going to let y'all know we on all bullshit tonight. I hope you are tuned in. Without any further ado, let's jump into the Bleeds the Leads. Now, producer, this may be one of my only positive takes for the night. Could you pull up my first post, please? Will Smith gets a street renamed in his honor in West Philadelphia. Will Smith, a staple in Philadelphia, regardless of the slander. First of all, I don't really allow any Will Smith slander. He is still from the West Side. But I think it's dope that he gets a street. He has done enough in his career that he has earned it. He has a new album out. When I get a little downtime, I'm going to give it a listen. I'm not expecting Will Smith to deliver groundbreaking bars, but Will Smith is still Will Smith. With that being said, producer, my next clip, please.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Yo. Oh shit. Yo. Oh.
Another example, ladies and gentlemen, of how Philadelphia is not a real place. I definitely miss the drug addicts in the hood. My favorite drug to watch people on was Wet. That gave people some wild incidents out in life. But yo, imagine you chilling and you see your car door open. You open that door to find a crackhead lighting up in your car. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been around that smell, It is one of the top 10 nasty, most disgusting smells in the world. And I can't imagine how long it took OG to get that smell out of his whip. It was so many different things going on. First of all, how the niggas on the block and say, hey, yo, shorty, what you doing? Like, yo, leave my man Will alone. First of all, if there's crackheads in your neighborhood, your car's door should be locked anyway. Because even if you don't have anything in your car, an incident like this can happen. Now, one of the funniest things I found about this clip, the fact that it said lighten up a stone. Lighten up a stone is extremely hilarious to me because I've never heard crack rock called a stone. You know, maybe here or there, but lighten up a stone is hilarious as shit. But shorty, I am not gonna let you get away with that without catching one of these. But cracking into my man car to smoke some crack, you see what I did there? Double entendre. Ma'am, you are a crumb bum.
You're a crumb creep. I want to fight you. You don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum.
All these allergies out here and you smoking crack. You was a wild shorty. But with that being said, producer, my next clip, please. New Jersey police chief accused of pooping on the floor, spiking coffee with Viagra. Take that down. I have had some gripes with my current supervisor. She has really tested my strength and patience. I had a friend that said, God, give me patience. Because if you give me strength, I'm going to need jail money too. My man pooping on the floor. What kind of drugs did you have to be on? And you know what? This is just a short scope of what this man was doing. I know hands had to be put on him. If they were not put on him, it was a lot of people in the office, whole and back, that wanted to put hands on him. Because how the fuck? And then spiking people coffee with Viagra is completely the fuck insane. I have so many questions. What did you think was going to be the best outcome of that? Putting anything in somebody's drink, but we're going to double up on that one. You too, sir, are a crumb bum.
You're a crumb creep. I want to fight you. You don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum.
Now, for one of my favorite clips from the last 2 weeks, I was mad that this clip came right around the time of the show, and I didn't have enough time to talk about it last week, but we're going to talk about it this week. Producer, play my next clip, please.
And they understand the cost that is involved. There's 1,000 of you. I said close them doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. I'm challenging each of you all down here to give a $20 seed.
Before I give your opinion about this clip, much like the good brother Royalty just did, if you are watching right now, make sure that you comment so I can give you a shout out. Love the fans, Ant Hive. Always a pleasure having y'all come through, whether it's your first time or whether you're a repeat customer. But it's a lot of things that went on here. Kidnapping the church is insane. To lock the door is wild. And growing up in the church, this happens a lot more often than people would like to know. And it's very twofold. Now, I was an usher. My grandmother was in the finance room. My father was a trustee as well. I was a trustee at one point in my church. Now, I remember back in the day, may he rest in peace. I won't say his name, psych, I will. The Elder Patterson used to have an $800 fee for delivering his sermons. So the collection plate came up light. He went to the finance room at the church and said, that ain't enough. And I'm going to sit here till y'all make it enough. I personally would have put hands on Patterson if I was a little older. But I want to know a little bit more context. Now, people always say stuff like churches don't have to pay taxes and stuff like that, which is true. But ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you, being on the other side, being on the staff in the church, you see a little bit of how the church run. And listen, churches do require stuff. When them roofs need to be fixed, because most churches are old structures. When them hot water heater tanks break and stuff like that, they do need to be paid for. Now, I would want a little bit more context to this situation, because the way he was talking, I don't think that 40K he was asking for was for him. Because if you watch more of the clip, he's taking out money and putting money in himself. Now, if he's taking out money and putting money in and telling all the pastors on the in the pulpit to put money in, he's not asking for that money for himself. He's asking for money for an initiative. And churches need money to run. Whether people like to agree with it or not, ain't no church just gonna run off of prayer. It's a Bible verse that actually says you can pray, but you got to do some actions yourself. Yo, I don't think he was wrong. Unpopular opinion. He wasn't wrong. The way that clip started off is part of that speech that was cut off. But if he's asking the church for 40K to run something for the church, because I'm going to take that he didn't have the 40K to just throw out there. My man needed 40K. Y'all should have gave it up. I don't know how long y'all was collecting for this, but if it was coming down to we need 40K for something for this church, y'all got to give it up. Now, my man Marvin Sapp was definitely acting like Warren said that day. And I don't necessarily think I would have went about it that way, but I don't think he was wrong. And for that, y'all can say what y'all want. But producer,
You're a crumb creep. I want to fight you. But you don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum.
wow. I don't think he
Hold
was being a
on.
crumb.
Can I just come on and say something right quick, Ant?
Yep.
Please. And I hate to interrupt, but when I get triggered. When I get triggered. Now, again, I agree with you. Churches need money to run. No doubt in my mind, right? Because I know they tax exempt from a lot of things. I know they get like discounts and other perks for being the church, but I also know they got to keep the light bills on and all that. My problem with this whole situation is it's the way to go about everything, man. Telling the ushers to lock down the church so that everybody can quote unquote sow a seed, then have the audacity not really to say what it's for. Like, for me, the stigma and all the pastors around the country, this is not just for Marvin Sapp or whatever his name is, but this is for all the churches around the world, right? Around the country, I mean.
Right.
They like to put on these public displays of these sermons, and it gets political around, when it's time to vote. They like to broadcast that. They like to post that to their social media. They like to live stream that. But at the end of the day, I just watched the passion. I broke in to say this. They need to do more of this. It was a guy who drove from like Ontario, Canada to a church here in the United States. And that pastor said, listen, you left all your worldly belongings in Canada? He was like, yeah, me, my wife, and my 2 kids drove down here just to come to your church. He immediately gave them $50,000 to get started, to find a crib, to get settled in. They need to do more of that. I'm not saying parade people out saying, look, we gave this family food for this month. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they can say, hey, last week we raised $35,000. Let me tell y'all where that money's going to go. Yeah, we're going to pay some bills for the church. However, we just put a little bit to the college fund for the kids in our congregation. We just got this. We just got somebody braces. We paid somebody prom dues. We paid somebody tuition. We paid somebody electric. We paid somebody gas. We paid rent for 6 months for this person because they just lost their job. They was a federal employee. The church is losing people in droves, and
well, I would say that's not completely a fair assessment, because I could tell you the church that I grew up in, they used to collect twice. So the first collection plate, they used to call it, I forgot what the name of it was. And it was 2 envelopes that used to go in there. One of them was for the building fund, whatever you wanted to donate to keep stuff running at the church. The second one was for, I'm lying, it was 3. The second one, they used to run for just stuff in the community. So the stuff that you're mentioning. So I remember a person on a block, their hot water tank went out. The church, they came to the church paid for it. They had a fund specifically for those things. Then they would have one for tithes and offering. Now that was all the money that goes to keeping the church running. After the pastor preached, then they would have a collection for the pastor. I don't know. We don't really have context as to where he was saying this was for. Now, he could have said it before the clip started, because the clip is intended for you to want the clickbait from the situation. I highly doubt if he was doing something, because this clip isn't new. From what I understand, this is from a little while ago. It just happened to resurface. But I don't truly think that money was going to pay his pockets.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And also, Pastor need the Benz. If you're doing bad, how I'm going to follow you? How you going to tell me God good if God ain't being good to you?
Because when you ever seen Jesus roll around in platinum sandals? Huh?
You know,
Jesus didn't even have a camel, a horse-drawn buggy. He ain't had nothing. He ain't need nothing.
He didn't. But one thing I will say is also, I hate when stuff like this happens because it gives all pastors a bad name. I remember when I became a trustee, and I didn't notice that the pastor that was at my church, now at this time, I'm probably about 23. That pastor had drove the same car since I was 7. And he was like, the church isn't quite giving me enough money that I had the luxury of affording a new car. I'm making this work. And actually, to maintain, I'm doing other things during the week. I'm doing consulting jobs, so I don't have to lean on the church. He wasn't cashing checks because he said, I know the finances the church has, and if the money isn't there, I'm not going to take it. So, I mean, it's twofold. We get stuff like this, but every pastor ain't a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. And we don't hear enough of those stories, is what I'm saying.
Because nobody really wants, let's be honest, nobody really wants to hear those stories.
And we can be honest, enough people do. Listen to me. I'd rather hear those stories, right? Because everybody will click on the feel-good story, right? Like, again, I know I can't, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but I like a good feel-good story.
I like it.
Right?
I do. When I go there in my timeline, if I find, even on this show, you've seen it. If I find a feel-good story, I will post it. But most people, when they come to churches, only like the salacious shit.
I don't know. I think they should put more of it out there. Whether they catch fire and go viral or not, is evidence that these type of things are happening, and they need to make more, more noise about the good that they're doing in the community, as opposed to locking church doors and trying to get people to donate $40 so they can reach a specific goal. Again, my only issue with it is that, like, you pulled that stunt to my lock the doors. And I don't know if I would have sat there for that. Like, Negro,
I wouldn't have.
Like, you done lost your damn mind. You're not locking me in no church trying to get no extra 40 or 40 out of me. Like, come on, man. And then not to know what it's for. And I know Marvin Sapp, he riding pretty. Okay.
Listen, sister.
And it ain't all from no goddamn music royalties either, because it's over for him.
Listen, Sister Thomas, I'm gonna suggest you get the fuck out the way before you catch these hands. Cause I'm not sitting here for this. And while we sitting here talking, I actually want to know what his net worth is, just out of curiosity.
Let me look it up right quick.
Oh, it's 4 million.
Is it?
Yeah, he's not doing bad.
That's
estimated 4 million as of 2024.
Yeah, he definitely doing all right. But god damn it, greed.
Yeah, it'd have been
historically, them passes have been greedy.
It'd have been 4.04 if y'all gave up their 40 ball.
You know what I'm saying? For sure. All right, my bad. I just got tricked.
Nah, that was good.
Shout out to the Lord.
I appreciated that. And producer, if you want to jump back in for the lounge talk, I am more than happy for that as well. Scooty, what up? What up? Now, also, I think the only thing that would have made this clip funny, because I did laugh at this clip. I thought it was hilarious. The only thing that would have made it better for me is after he said what he said, he just said, "Give me the loot, give me the loot." Biggie reference if you get it. But with that being said, producer, my next clip, please.
I am over here winning, baby.
Can you use headphones? Do you mind if you use headphones?
What do you mean?
Because you're being loud.
How can you hear me? You have your headphones.
I have my headphones, and I still hear you.
So you don't want me to talk? I'm still going to be able to
No, it's not
talk.
that. I'm just asking kindly if you could use your headphones.
What, do you hear my voice? You still going to hear my voice?
And her voice.
I'm her.
Okay.
You don't hear nobody's voice but mine.
Okay.
I don't know how you hear me. He got his headphones on. He want me to speak lower?
What up, Mike's Philippines Journey? Thank you for tuning in. Yo, I had a couple problems with this video. For one, she wasn't being that loud, and I don't think she was close enough that she should have been interrupting. I mean, I personally don't like when people talk in the gym because I'm here, but also I don't like when people sit on gym equipment. Way worse. I have more of a problem with that than I have people talking in the gym. Also, I don't think that happens if it was a white woman. I'm tired of people bring up Scooty's comment. I hate the fact that, okay, she said when you're a black woman, you're always being raped. I hate the fact that people just feel like they can say anything to black women. If she wasn't loud. You could see from the video her talking before she actually you could see her talking before she actually got her comment off, and she wasn't loud. Yo, leave her alone. Leave her alone. She's not bothering you. Leave her alone. And also, I just feel that she should have hit me with a left hook. That would have made this video better for me. But shout out for her for being a professional. Also, her hands are registered, so it ain't too much she could have did in that situation outside of handle it the way she did. But shout out to her, because I definitely would have said, what's your fucking problem? Mind your fucking business. Turn your headphones up a little bit more, because they look like noise cancellation headphones anyway. So for you, good sir, for bothering that black woman unprovoked, you, sir, are a crumb bum.
You're a crumb creep. I want to fight you. But you don't have the courage. You're a real crumb bum.
We handing them things out tonight. Pause. But y'all know how I like to end. If it bleeds, it leads. Producer, play my funny video of the week.
Your breath stay with a dookie smell. I hope soon as you get them done, bitch, you break every fucking nail. I hope you wake up and realize you gotta tell. I hope when Jesus come, you the only person there he send to hell. I hope your kids go to school and just fail. I hope you open a mailbox every day and that bitch ain't got no mail. I hope the plug serve you off a broke scale. I hope your house burned down and you can't find no hotel. I hope roaches crawling on you when you sleep. I hope you never have sex, but it still burn when your ass pee. I hope they steal your car and they sell it cheap. I hope you get a permanent black stain on the bottom of your feet. I hope somebody pour bleach on all your clothes. I hope you get COVID and can't never smell through your nose. I hope your best friend group chat get exposed. I hope your baby daddy beat you for cheating. You ain't even got no hoes. I hope the worst. I hope you allergic to your shirt. I hope it's an off day for everybody and you the only one at work. I hope they see boo-boo crumbs when you twerk. I hope they show your close friends to everybody at your mama church. I hope everybody.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to know who provoked him to make that song and leave him the fuck alone, because he was not playing. He had bars for whoever this young lady is, and I don't know what she did to him, but I'm on his side. I believe him, because, yo, the way he flamed her on that track was insane. And you know what? She deserves it. Her people, and he hurt her with the lyrical ass whooping he gave her on that track. But I almost started the show off with that track. I might just do it next week anyway. But that shout out to that young man. Salute, because the way you flame Shorty, I'm a petty individual. I have never done anything petty on that level, but I appreciate it, good sir. You made me a fan. But that concludes If It Bleeds, It Leads. Let's jump into that lounge talk. This might be the first episode that I ain't had no wine with me. Listen, a brother came home from work and all I wanted to do was get this power nap in before the show started. But I appreciate y'all for being here with me either way. Shout out to Joy. As y'all can see, Joy made another appearance. She act like she a little camera shy today. But producer, let's jump into my lounge talk topic for this week.
This right here is the cutest thing.
Y'all gotta check this out, man.
Jane Daniels. Now, Juju's 19, famous 24. It's when she like does the cute little like touch of the ear thing and smiles, and then wait for it later. It's like his mom came out and
Deandra, what is up, good sister? Where you been? We still waiting on the show. I think you're kind of scared personally. Where you been? But producer, come back for a second.
Yes, sir. I come back. His signal drop is crazy. Deandra, where you been? You heard Ant said he looking for that show. Ant, your main screen is down. Ant, you might have to come out and come back in. I guess you can't hear me.
Now, the funny thing is, I knew that was going to happen. I realized right before I started the show, I'm like, yo, I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Shout out to that. That was Pops. I'll holler at you after the show, Pops. But producer.
Yeah.
Before we go any further, I want to know what the people got to say about that. And if y'all think I came here to play with y'all, god damn it, I'm not. This one, my word's been crazy. Everything is coming together though. Listen, shout out to that. Because when I tell you, the rest of this year about to be a little crazy for me as well. But we are rumbling and we're going to keep on rumbling. But producer, what did you think when you saw that clip?
Man, I had so many thoughts, man. So I'll go through the quick gamut of thoughts that I had. My initial thought is, shit, mama know best. Mama can see it coming. But then I thought, You know, I'll always love my mom, but mama need to mind her damn business.
Mama need to learn how. Mama need to stay out of adult business. Now,
and then hold on, let me just get this last thought. The last thing I thought was, where is his father at? And I know that's an issue in our community, but for me, I was thinking, you know, dad would have let him rock out. However, he would have had a serious conversation with him after the fact, because we see what's going on in the world with professional athletes. It's been a hot story, viral story with Anthony Edwards trying to pay off his child support for a full 18 years. Now, I seen it out there saying that, you know, he did it, but I haven't found anything to confirm that he actually did that. I know he asked the question, but I doubt if they'll ever grant him that, because the needs of the child change depending on what happens with the child. It could be born with, you know, certain disabilities or special needs or anything. So a judge, in my opinion, would never do anything like that. Not to get too far off topic, but that girl, 40 years old, she knew what she was doing. Aunt gave that woman $100,000 to have an abortion. She dropped that shit in her bank account and ain't think about no damn abortion. Okay. Now, at the end of the day, you know, I feel like Aunt is responsible. Aunt should pay. I don't think Aunt mind paying. My biggest issue with this whole thing is that he wants nothing to do with the child. And for a father, that's heartbreaking. And I just got some breaking. Right? Shout out to my babies. The Food Network just reached out. They want both my daughters to do this season a kids baking championship together. They reached out to Cameron twice already to try to get her to do it. She's turned them down both times because she like, Daddy, I just want to do something on your network. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I could talk her into doing it this time. But I don't know, because Kayla would have to agree to do it now too. Right. So at the end of the day, and they just missed the cutoff. Kayla is 13, Cameron is 11, and the age for the cutoff is 14. So they both just made it in. I'm looking at the email now. Proud dad moment. I just want to say I'm proud of my babies, Kayla and Cameron, and I most certainly love y'all. I want y'all to do it, but again, you know, I empower them to make their own decisions. Sorry about that.
For sure. No, I definitely agree. Now, just to rebuttal with, reiterate what you were saying. I see her out with him a lot. Living in this area, he frequents the sporting events in this area. And he seems to be an upstanding young man, but mothers, when do it get to the point where you allow him to make his own decisions? I mean, Mom, you're not going to always be there. And Mom, I know he won the Heisman Trophy. You cannot tell me that man wasn't knocking stuff down on the couch. Not going to believe that at all. But also, Mom, mind your business. The young lady that he was talking to is not a gold digger.
I mean, I get where Mom is coming from, because she's older. She's been around. She's seen a lot. And I'm sure she looks like a very intelligent woman. I'm sure she's been doing research because she's been following her son, taking him to sports his whole life. So she know what come with that. And I know where her heart is. You would just hope that, Mom, the lessons that you taught him, you just got to hope that they stick. Because he's not gonna be, he's not living in your house. When he was on campus, I'm sure as a Heisman, once he was made the starting quarterback, you understand what I'm saying? His life changed. Okay, I'm sure with that came some NIL deals, so the money changed
for sure.
Right. So at the end of the day, it's a balance, man. You got to give him enough space to be a man, but you also have to understand that, or we have to understand that. Mom is going to always be mom. She's going to always want what's best for her baby. I mean, to the day my mom passed, which is crazy because she basically just did everything for us. We really didn't have to do much. That's how much she still wanted to take care of babies. So at the end of the day, I understand where she's coming from, but Mom also has to trust that she raised him right and he's going to make responsible decisions. Without a dad being around, he has his college coach or high school coach or other, offensive or defensive coordinator, some adult male that he's built a bond with that can help mentor him.
Right. And I can tell you just from what it looks like in this area, People, because he came back and literally has been like the savior for the Commanders, it seems like a lot of good people are kind of guiding him and kind of like football wise, not even just football wise, because I saw like I can't remember his name, but the Redskins quarterback that's the first, Doug Williams. Doug Williams has been, you can see that they have a relationship and he's been there as a mentor. But Mom, you gotta ease up because I mean, you from the outside looking at it, I don't know too much about, I forget her name right now. But I mean, she's player of the year and been voted athlete of the year for, I forget which particular brand, but she seems like a young lady that has her head on straight and she's headed trajectory wise in a positive direction. But yo, Mom, dude, you gotta ease up.
Yeah, and
your son got needs that you can't satisfy.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. Like, Mom, that man got needs. You got to get out of the way. DeAndre, we love you back. Okay, I just want to say that, and I appreciate everybody showing love. But yeah, she ultimately again needs to strike that balance, because after a while he gonna end up resenting her if she continues to be that mom that's I want to say intrusive to the relationship. And this reminds me of that meme question that was going around, like who comes first, mom, daughter, or wife. Right. And I never understood why that was even a question, right? Because I feel like if I'm married to a woman, my wife gonna come first.
For sure.
Right? Then my daughter, mom dude's gonna come last. Right? Sure. And the reason I couldn't really understand why that was a thing and why it was so hard for people, because my thought process was, mom had me for however long. She know who I am. I can't have a relationship with my mom, right? But at the end of the day, I'm gonna have a relationship with my wife and my daughter.
Right.
If mom did what she's supposed to do, then I'm good. Okay. So nothing else matters.
Yeah. I just think like, yo, ladies, y'all gotta at a certain point you gotta ease up. As I'm not even gonna say ladies, I'm gonna say parents in general. I've taken, because my daughter, she'll be 18 this month, so she's been dating. I play a position where I've gave you guidance along the way for what you should expect. I gave you an example of what a man should be. Of course, you're going to want insight. You won't want advice. I'm there for you, but I'm not going to sit there and control your relationships for you. My parents were kind of, well, no, not kind of. My parents stood back and they gave their opinions on certain stuff, but they never intervened in my relationships. And I appreciated that. Now, later on down the line, when certain things didn't go the way I thought they should have been, they kind of told me like, well, I seen this, you didn't listen to this, XYZ, but they never condemned me from dating somebody just because of something they may have seen or something that they didn't like. But
nigga, I don't know.
I don't know either. But no, that'll conclude If It Bleeds, It Leads this week. If It Bleeds, It Leads. Leon's Talk. I definitely wanted to touch on that topic. I was hoping a lady would, one of my frequent viewers would call in for that one, but it's cool. I appreciate that. Producer, any last words for the good people this week?
Again, let's all just try to survive this administration. And what I like to say to people, whether they realize it or not, the power is always going to be with the people.
Thanks.
Okay. And if we decide to only protest and just talk shit on social media, we don't really have a voice, right? We can put pressure on them through social media, but at the end of the day, that's not enough. Salute to Senator Cory Booker.
For sure, definitely.
25 hours, broke Strom Thurmond record. Salute to him. He decided he had enough of this administration, and he wanted to stand up and let his voice be heard, speak for his constituents. speak for those veterans and those federal workers who lost their jobs. Salute to him, man. At 25 hours straight is insane.
No
I
bathroom
just
break or
prayed for
nothing.
that. I just prayed for that brother's strength and that he was able to get some rest. And we kind of need to follow suit. You know what I mean? I think the most powerful tool that we have as the people is what's in our wallet. I'm not saying don't pay your rent. I'm not saying, but keep the money in your pocket. Let's see how they feel when we keep our money in our pocket. Target fucked around and found out. Again, I don't know if we still protest, and I still haven't been to Target since we started. However, taking money from that bottom line is very effective. And I just want to tell people, continue to exercise your right to keep your money in your pocket.
Marvin Sapp does not endorse that message. Woo! But ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fun show. It's been kind of a light week, but I still want to drop an episode of the streets need me. But y'all know how I like to end every show. Live every day like it's your last, but make sure you are prepared for tomorrow. God bless and good night.